I won't put you out of your seat, bro.
That's it. I'm sure you put it up there and table.
We went see a donation.
We can pass my half the money and fall through. You, front picture.
Meeting come to order, please. Call the roll.
District 1,
Here.
District 2,
Here.
District 3,
Here.
District 4,
Here.
and District 5.
Here. Thank you, clerk. Have a motion to dispense the reading of the previous minutes.
So moved.
Second. Second. Everybody in favor, say aye. Okay. First thing on the agenda is the treasurer to end the year 2011-12 transfers.
They have
Yeah, got it.
I'll make a motion to accept the A&E transfer that presented.
We got a first and second. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Who's takes it?
Sunny funds. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is jail-related issues, Carter County Detention Center. I guess Joe, we're here this morning with us, if you want to talk about some issues. After he gets through his talk, and anybody in the audience wants to talk to him, raise your hand, and be recognized one-on-one to be able to speak. Joey, you know what it is.
Thanks, Mayor. Good morning to everybody. I know it's hot out. See, I need to get the microphone. Can you hear me? You turn it on. How's that?
It's on.
I got it turned on now. Is it
Peck
on?
on. Is it on? Peck on it. Sam's peck on it, Joey. No, it ain't. Turn it. Something's not
Well,
right.
I turned it.
I mean, the button on? There it is.
Yeah. Okay. I'm certainly not gonna sit up here and talk about all this, okay? And, like I said, my name's Joey Stan. First time I've been here. Would you mind giving me a pen? In case I need one. And I have to drink a little water sometimes when I speak. Let me say this is name's Joey Stan. I'm from Grayson County, in Litchfield, Kentucky. Of course, then we got Grayson, Kentucky, in Carter County. And I used to get calls for Grayson, Kentucky, when I was in Grayson County, so kind of ironic. Let me, I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I'm not here to participate in any type of character assassination. And you won't hear me doing that. And I'm glad to see everybody here. In the future, if the court decides that they would like to call another meeting about the jail, I think that they need to give plenty of notice. And I know your principal right there, that's a magistrate, I told him I hope that we could use the school as a gymnasium and we get 2,000 or 3,000 people there. That would be great. I know this is an important issue to you all, and it should be. The jail is your jail. It's taxpayers, belongs to taxpayers. This building right here belongs to you. These members that are elected, and I don't know everybody. I don't want to call everybody Mister because that's. So I'm gonna call you by your first name, but I'm gonna use your title. So it goes for everyone that's in office. If you would indulge me just a little bit. This is the first time I've been here. And my son, who's 8 years old, made the All-Star team, and we're playing tonight in Morgantown. But I'll tell you a little story that's gonna relate to this. First time I've been here. I can't control or can't help what's happened in the past with your meetings, how it was handled. First time I've been here. And it was like my second oldest son, we were in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and I think you all know where Elizabethtown is. And we beat the All-Star team there. And the mothers were very excited, and of course I was happy too. And the guy that ran the program and the head of the All-Star team came up to me and said, "You know what? You hadn't beat us in 20 years. And I said, "Well, I don't know. I hadn't been here in the past 20 years. This is my first year, so I'm 1-0. Now, I'm 1-0 now. I may be 0-10 or 0-20 when I leave Carter County, but I just wanted to throw that out there. This is probably going to be a curveball. Sometimes it's not going to be maybe anything at all what you think I'm going to speak about. Now, you cannot like the way I look. You cannot like the way I talk. You cannot like the way what my shoes look like. I'm not a Carter County resident. I know I'm from another county. So we can get all that out of the way. And I'm not here to say, you're gonna change your mind. Everybody has a right to, is entitled to feel the way they want to. And that's something that won't change. I don't mean to ramble, but like I said, I'm not gonna be rude to anyone. And that's not in me. talked a little bit yesterday, because I never met him. He's a principal at the high school, and very nice individual. He's taken back by a lot of this. He and I discussed, it wasn't handled right. I think all the fiscal court members will agree with that. I think that's why I'm here today, because the county judge agrees with that. But anyways, nice individual. My wife's a school teacher, and we've talked about school. Master and Sonny, I know he's had an accident, and he's lucky to be here. He's been off. Glad he's here. I know he runs a restaurant. And look like he's well thought of. Master Ronnie took me to, I think it's his son's restaurant yesterday, or whatever, Stop Shop. And something that I respect out of him yesterday, when we ate, he took his cap off, which that's how I was raised, and he said grace. And I respect that out of a person. I think we need more of that. Master Sodbuster, they call you that, talked with him yesterday. Actually, he had caught a raccoon in a cage. And I know he's very outspoken. And I've known some of these gentlemen from being in the judge's mattress conference. And I will say that about him, as far as the county is concerned. I know he goes, when he goes to Frankfurt Department of Transportation, things like that he fights to bring back as much money as he can to his county. And then Master Brandon has a business. Very nice individual. I like his shirt. And he seems like he's a very hard worker and a very nice gentleman. The county judge, known him for about 10 years. He's been elected here 3 terms. And when his wife passed away. But he seems well thought of. Jailer R.W., I never met him till today. He, I admire him for holding federal inmates. It's a big job. Running a jail's a big job. Probably the hardest job in the county, in my opinion. And he's really the only county office that's open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And I'm sure he has his cell phone with him, because he has to get calls all the time. He can't get a break, because I know how that is. So anyway, my family held office in Grayson County for 49 years consecutive at the jail. My grandfather served 2 terms. My father was elected for his 4th term. Running for his 5th, he passed away. My mother held part of the term. I held it, so I was elected for 6 terms. I left the jail. I got an appointment from Governor Fletcher to serve on the Kentucky Parole Board. I served that term, and then I still continue to be involved in county jails. I want to go back to some of the things that, and then I also met Leanne at the newspaper, so I met her several times, so I talked to Leanne. That we had a discussion people, when you only hear one side of the story, doesn't mean that you have to be for the other side, but you, people tend to listen to what they have to hear. And, a lot of times, people, and they have a right to be, it's the United States, they have a right to be how they feel. But a lot of times, people make you afraid. They scare you. And then they turn around and tell you who's to blame for it. So, I don't wanna go into, there's a lot of things to talk about. It's up to this court and what they're gonna do. And then I wanna talk about some things today that JRRW has talked about with this court since he came in office in January 1, 2011. And I went back to the newspaper articles and tried just to run through some things that I saw that's been written. And when Judge Wallace came in office, he said, and this is 2003, JRRW wasn't even in office. The judge wasn't in office when the jail was built. None of these fiscal court members was in office. One of the quote on the newspaper, jail's bleeding us dry. And then I went back to that. I want to skip to 2007. I went to do the archives, and it's so much about the jail. And I think JRRW will agree that, and probably most of you all here, even before he took office, that the jail's been pretty much a main topic, or it's been in the news in Carter County for ever since its existence. You have 144 beds. I viewed your jail when I was running for president of the Kentucky Jailers Association. I would like to, if you would indulge me, please, and I'll try to be as quick as I can. I would like to answer something, and I'll give Leanne a copy of this. My position has never wavered in regards to Kentucky jails, and has been and always will be for public safety, efficient and cost-effective jails across the Commonwealth. During my 23 years of tenure at the Grayson County Jailer, I ran a self-supporting, multi-million-dollar jail, and for 20 of those years, I was elected to the Kentucky Jailers Association as a board of directors consecutively. I was elected and served president of the Kentucky Jailers Association in 2005, 2006. While I served on the board of directors, I lobbied for and helped introduce legislation on behalf of the Kentucky Jailers Association. I left the position in 2006 to take a position in state government, and where I continue to be involved in jails across the Commonwealth. When the Root County Jail encountered financial and security issues, I worked with the Department of Corrections to keep it from being closed. While working with Root County, I helped save thousands of tax dollars by increasing the amount of contribution from the general fund to the jail fund from $450,000 to $37,000 in less than 2 years. Had the Root County Jail been closed by the Department of Corrections, Root County would have incurred hundreds of thousands of dollars in costs to reopen the facility, bearing an additional tax burden on them. Rodney Ballard, Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Corrections, was quoted in a newspaper article about the Root County Jail as saying, Root County would have been closed without Stanton's leadership to meet new regulations. During the 6 months, I only was there for 6 months, that I had oversight. jail became a model to others across the state. It went from cellar dweller upward toward the top. In 2011, I was hired by the Boyd County Fiscal Court to review operating budgets and make recommendations for more efficient and cost-effective management strategies to save taxpayers' money. The burden on financing jail operations rests with each fiscal court. During this turbulent economic times we are in, all counties are seeking to streamline and economize county departments and operations. Since working with Boyd County, I have helped to reduce the general fund from contributing to the jail by $900,000. I have also been contacted to review the feasibility of Boyd and Carter County and entering into an interlocal agreement to create a regional jail in order to save money and ease the tax burden placed on the citizens. My record of running the most efficient jail in Kentucky, as well as my current work in saving counties monies and their jail operations, speak for itself. I held 350 federal inmates, the most in this state, still the most in this state. It's been continued 29 years, self-supporting. Transported, had 15, 20 transport teams, transported in at least 10 different states. I held immigration inmates, I held Bureau of Prison inmates. I like to say, I stood up in 1999, and I told my county, even though we were self-supporting, I said, we got to the point where I can't continue to be self-supporting. So I stood up, and probably there was we had several meetings, and there was 400 people normally showed up. Not everybody was against it. Actually, there was people that came to support me. And then there was people that came, well, all right, I want to listen. And of course, there was people of opposition. But anyway, the fiscal court had faith in me. Started with a 26-bed facility. It grew to 515 beds. We had I had 40 employees at the time. It grew to 135 employees and held 515 inmates. The Grace County Jail today holds 27% of all the federal inmates in Commonwealth, Kentucky. And there is 20 jails that have federal contracts. And you're very fortunate to have a federal contract here in Carter County. And I know Jailer R.W. has spoken up. There's been opposition, federal inmates being here, and he's spoken about that. I did the same thing in Grayson County. Your federal inmate, I ran studies on that. They are not as dangerous as your own county inmates that are charged in this particular county. So I commend him for doing that. I want to read something that a county that I did when I left LaRue County, and I have never seeked any position I've been asked. And I left LaRue County, but I think this is important to read, and it is no reflection, has nothing to do with your jailer, your current jailer now. I think he's trying to do everything he can, and we'll get into this articles in a minute, to help this county. And I wrote this to Judge Turner, and I can show Leanne. I'm gonna try, everything I say, I'm gonna try, well, will be either in numbers that is backed up, or I will give Leanne names that she can call and verify everything I say. And I'm not gonna shoot from the hip, because I've experienced in my life shooting from the hip, you always get checked on, and you better have your facts straight. And this is something of the things that some of the counties encounter with their jails. It says, dear Judge Turner, during the past summer of 2010, after several discussions of significant impact of the upcoming House Bill 463, which would dramatically reduce the number of state inmates in LaRue County Detention Center, you and I decided to pursue opportunities to offset the loss of revenue. I was requested to use my contacts, previous experience with the United States Marshal, to pursue contracts to house Western District, which that's they're in, U.S. Marshal inmates, ICE, which is Immigration, Bureau of Prisons, inmates. We also secured a contract with the State Department of Transportation in 2010, and I'll get into that in a minute, y'all. At present, we're only holding one federal inmate, which was at my request when I spoke to the United States Marshal Service. And the new jailer came in. I was there in July 1 to January 3rd when he took office, like everybody else. I don't want to go into specifics of having dismissed 21 out of 23 employees and all the things that was going on. If Jailer Cockrell would have told myself as well as you, he could handle the situation. If Jailer Cockrell would allow it, we could have 10 to 12 United States Marshal inmates at LaRue County Detention Center. But that is not what he wants. He is the jailer of LaRue County, and I have told him repeatedly I want to help him and LaRue County be successful. I am very concerned and troubled by the statement Jailer Cockrell made to you and I at a meeting at the jail when he told us how important, we told him how important federal, and I'm trying to read this really quick, so if I don't read it properly, it's because I'm trying to be quick. How important federal inmates are to LaRue County and the revenue they can generate, which Jailer RW knows that. Jailer Cockrell advised us he did not care about revenue. He was elected jailer for 4 years, and that was all was important to him. Jailer Cockrell said it will not work to hold federal inmates. He is not willing to see that it did for Grayson County and several counties across the state. Federal inmates generate revenue. I feel Jailer Cockrell is not interested in helping the taxpayers of LaRue County. It just may be too much work for him, but he has an obligation when he was elected to office to the people of LaRue County. Once the interagency governmental application was completed and approved, I contacted Washington, D.C. and referred to Mr. Wong. I compiled a proposal to Mr. Wong with Homeland Security in Chicago, Illinois, to detain ICE detainees and transportation. After receiving our proposal, Mr. Long immediately arranged an assessment to be held on February 22nd and 23rd. I contacted him on February 9th, and I'll give you verification of that. This assessment was comprised of 3 individuals who assessed the policy and procedure of the LaRue County Detention Center against 28 ICE standards. During this assessment, Mr. Cockrell chose to distract himself from the assessment and let a few key staff members to respond to requests of his assessment. After making contact with Federal Bureau of Prisons in the Eastern District, the United States Marshal's Office to pursue housing inmates, it is to my dismay that I must cease the pursuit of contracts to house Federal Bureau of Prison inmates, Eastern Kentucky District detainees, and Fort Knox federal inmates, which they're adjacent to Fort Knox. There are several reasons for this decision, which includes Mr. Cockrell's lack of interest in housing United States Marshal detainees, as he expressed as prior to his ICE assessment. His lack of involvement in ICE assessment itself, especially with the absence of the former staff that enabled assessment to go smoothly, which leads even greater to the lack of knowledge of required policy and procedural changes. In addition, in his recent expenditure to the commissary, which will be red flagged by the state auditor's office. I feel that any other pursuit of inmate housing contracts to aid the revenue will result in failure and a negative appearance of LaRue County, those aforementioned agencies. So I wanted to say that that is some of the things that some of the fiscal courts have to deal with. In no way am I implying that Jailer Boggs is doing that. Jailer RW. Absolutely not. Now, I want to go back to, I just wanna read some articles, and I know you all know them, I just wanna read the headlines. August 2007, inmate staff infection concerns, family, jailer crisis in counties, January 24, 2008. This is not when Jailer Boggs was elected. Carter received Round County female inmates. Budget and personnel issues, plague detention center. County officials, state jail issues, May 2008. Deputy jailers jailed, June 4, 2008. Tackett family claims wrongful death, September 2008. Suit filed against Carter County Detention Center, September 2008. A civil action was filed again, September 2008. County funds transferred 2008 to the jail. Misconduct charges dropped against local jail officials, January 2009. January 2010, jail overcrowding could send inmates home early. April 2009, former Carter County inmate says she won't settle out of court. April 2009, Carter County inmate in ICU after jail altercation. Carter County inmate dies, May 2009. 2009, health provider dismissed. May 2009, local masters question jail officials' decision to transport of injured inmate. Another inmate hospitalized in October 2009. Fiscal court meets December 2009. April 2010, fiscal court discusses jail funding issues. Let's get that one, that's election about people running. January 11th, okay. January 11th, or January 26, 2011. Now let us understand, when Jailer Boggs took office, the previous jailer had made the budget. July 1 of 2010, so it was 2010, 2011 fiscal year. So Jailer Boggs came in with a budget that he had nothing to do with, and he had to operate it for 6 months under the previous administration. Had nothing to do with the budget, nothing at all, nothing. Wasn't even in office when it was voted and approved. All right, then I understand too that you've elected 5 new members to the fiscal court, a new jailer, a new sheriff, is you the sheriff, it's nice to meet you, sheriff, and a new county attorney, which I'm also glad to see that we are a country of a two-party system. And I know the ratio here is 3 to 1 Democrat, and I'm glad to see, and judge and fiscal court members, there's 5 of you Democrats, 1 Republican. I'm glad to see you got a Republican member to the fiscal court. I'm glad to see that the Republican county attorney. I'm glad to see that you had a Republican jailer. I'm glad to see, I think you had, from this county, you have a Republican state representative. So you do have a two-party system here, which I think is wonderful. But now when the election's over with, which it was when you took office in January 3rd of 2011, at that point, as we look at Congress, the partisanship should be over. We should work together,
Absolutely.
not just in Carter County, but any county, whether it's Grayson County, whatever county. Now, let me say this, and I'm a person that I say what I think. I may be right, I may be wrong. Now, Mr. Boggs, I'm sorry. Can I call you RW? Okay. RW came in the office, I know he won the election, as these gentlemen here did, and the judge. And he had a platform. And people in this county must have liked his platform. They did, because they elected him. So, he came to the fiscal court, and with a budget that was already in existence, and you previously, as you've seen, the jails has been plagued by financial problems. In '07, it was not just financial, it was other reasons. You have a new fiscal court. So they had a position too. They had a position which, and the judge, who has been dealing with this since 2003, they came and they had a position about money. Because that's more than likely, I wasn't here during the election, that's more than likely what they had to hear. You replaced all 5 of your fiscal court members. So they had a position. RW had a position. He wanted to make the jail successful. He heard for years how much the jail costs. Should we even build the jail? Well, let me go back. When it was built in 2003, I applaud the county for doing that. But let me tell you what your people in public office didn't do that they should have done. They should have planned at least 10 years out. At least. Because when these gentlemen, everybody leaves public office, you don't just look a year down the road, you don't just look 2 years down the road, because your children and your grandchildren are gonna be grown, they're gonna pay taxes. They even may hold a public office. So you would want them to look at that time and go back and say, the people previous to us, they had the foresight to look forward. The jail should have been 300 beds when it was built. Can't do anything about it now. It's already built. You have a $400,000 bond payment on it. That's what the county owes for. All right, when we get started, and here's what I want to say. This has gotten out of hand. Now, you can say, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm giving you my professional opinion and my opinion. You got some problems on both sides. You got problems that the fiscal court may have some hard feelings. But now they control the purse strings. And you got RW, who may have said things that shouldn't have said things, maybe out of frustration, both. So now you got them that they're not working together. So that comes from both sides. So I want to challenge the fiscal court, the county judge, and the jailer for the citizens of Carter County to start working together. Now, let bygones be bygones. Stand up as men, shake your hand, each other's hand, and say, okay, let's go forward. Let's put this behind us. All right, this is what the paper wrote, and I started and remember, I'll tell you this, and I've told Leanne this. What's written in the paper is what is reported and what the reporter reports. It's not gospel. That is not the way it truthfully is. Now, that's not saying that she's untruthful. That's just the way it is. When we go to a convenience store, or we go check out at the grocery store, what do? We look at the headlines of a paper. That's what we do. That's the first thing we do. We look at that headline. And if the curiosity of that headline makes you want to read it. January 2011, Wallace says jail road maintenance hurt by jail costs. May 2011, this is getting to the fiscal year of the new budget that you're under now. Talking about. Wallace calls for a 20-cent cut in the jail budget. Well, you know, he's got to be responsible for the funds in this county. You have an insurance premium tax. And your insurance premium tax brings in $800,000 a year. Okay, who likes taxes? Nobody in this room. But an insurance premium tax, if you have to have one, is probably the most fair. Because what that does, that catches the people that's retired, and it catches the people that works, because everybody's got to have insurance. So pretty much across the board, everybody's got to contribute to that. Then, if you don't know, then you have a property tax. I know when you get your property tax bill, oh my God. Well, you got the school district, you got other things on it, but you know what this county brings in off your property taxes? $400,000 a year. So you got $1.2 million. There's other monies that run through your general fund. It's in and out money. So you got really $1.2 million in revenue to operate on. Now you got a road fund over here that's separate, that's restricted. You got a jail fund that's restricted. If the money's in it, it's what you got to operate on. I know you won't know this answer, but do you know what the general fund of this county, beginning of this fiscal year, had in the bank account? No, you don't. And rightfully so, unless you went to look and you specifically needed to look. And I'll give you the exact number, but I'm gonna say some odd. I know what the first number is.
$304,000.
At the beginning of fiscal year,
The carryover.
For this year?
the general fund was $64,000 and some dollars at the beginning of this fiscal year. Is that right, Ms. Treasurer?
Yes, that is carryover.
Okay. That wasn't counting your other funds, correct?
Right.
Just your general fund was $64,000. It's okay, that can be verified by the treasurer. Okay? Verified by the treasurer. Now, Judge, I don't wanna argue. They can disagree with me. I said I didn't come here, I don't wanna argue.
Could I say one thing, please? This is not, I ain't being radical or talking about no war. But the statement you made a while ago, you said that the jailer made the budget for the jail before our deputy come in. That is a flat lie, Mr.
Oh, okay.
Charles Wallace made
Now, let me-
it, and the
let me
county
go sit
treasurer
down.
made
You've
it.
been recognized
The
at the
magistrate
meeting.
approved it, okay.
After the
I'm
meeting.
sorry, Mr. Wallace. That's just what the truth told.
Okay. Let me, I said, and you may have to go back on the tape, I said the jail budget was already in place for the jailer to operate on. And every budget has to be passed by the fiscal court and approved. I know that.
You said the jailer.
Okay, then, sir, I will apologize.
Well, you need to keep it straight. And you also had those newspaper clippings that showing when Judge Wallace took office. You didn't show the one where he said that the jail was making money and doing real good, right after he first got in. You didn't see that clipping. That clipping's here in the county too, mister.
Okay.
I'm not talking about you, Nate. You're up here trying to help, and you're hard by the fiscal court and the judge.
Okay, I'm not gonna, I don't wanna disagree with you.
Let's just try to get it straight though.
Okay, well then, I'm gonna get into things that I don't feel like it's been adequately presented, it's been the statements, and that's what I wanna get into.
It's not being adequately presented to the public.
Let me get into that, okay? And
Okay, I'm sorry.
whatever you wanna say, that's okay. All right. Some of these statements, and a lot of them has to do with the financial cost of the jail, and as I said, if I didn't say it, the jailer, RW, took office in January 3rd of 2011. The jail budget, along with every budget in the county, was approved and started operation in July 1 of 2010. Every budget has to be approved by the fiscal court. Is that okay?
That's true.
Okay, I know that, but if I didn't say it, sorry. All right, then in July 13, 2011, DLG sheds light on fiscal court. I think they came down because stuff going on. All right. Now let's get into this. And I know there's some of the things I want to talk about, and I want to give some documentation back to it. And I want to read the headlines, since the fiscal court voted on the first ordinance, which they had to re-vote on because it wasn't done properly. Judge, you tried to rectify that. You all had to vote on the first reading 2 times. The first headline: Judge Executive drops bombshell. That was your first headline in the paper on May 16th. May 16, regional jail gets approval. At that meeting, this is the latest effort by Charles Wallace. This was reported. Everything I'm gonna write is gonna be reported. Does that make it the gospel? I haven't seen any retractions, so I'm gonna read what was said by an interview. This latest effort by Charles Wallace to bring down the jail reinforces that in spite of all the positives we have accomplished at the jail, the increased revenue and the increased opportunity for our citizens, it is still the goal of our county judge to cause the jails this demise of any cost to our community, the staff at the jail, and the taxpayer citizens of Carter County. That was reported in the paper by RW. All right, May 16th, it was reported regional jail gets approval. In reaction to accusation, the regional jail plan is entirely an effort to remove control of the jail from the elected jailers. Wallace denied any such motivation, as repeated the jail partnership is purely an effort to save money. Wallace compared the cooperative jail effort with Boyd County to that of a married couple with income from 2 sources. And it was reported that RW, I can tell you who will be the daddy, Boyd County, Carter County Jailer R.W. Boggs after it was pointed out that Boyd County would have 3 members on the proposed regional jail board, while Carter County would only have 2.
Judge, can I press Mr. Stanton a second?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure probably everybody in here has read the paper, but we really wanna hear your facts, and we'd like you to kind of move to that. Could you do that?
I'm trying to get to that.
Okay.
Thank you. And then also reports handled by unelected board of decision makers, community racks, the regional jail authority. This is an editorial by the paper. There's no name on it. And it says, jail project could be political, financial mess. First, it looks like a political vendetta across Carter, or County Jail R.W. Boggs and County Attorney Patrick Fanny are the only 2 Republicans in the county office. Neither would be about the jail plot until it broke. Last week's fiscal court meeting. The second reading was in May 23rd. There's been like 25 articles written about the jail, Floyd Tables, the regional jail. Trying to make sure tempers flare in Carter County. Anyway, so you all get the gist of that, and I'll move forward.
Thank you.
Here's an editorial that was written on June 29th. It looks like that's, shouldn't be something said. Burchett says he's done a good job, and they don't know why the deal is. I know, I've watched the tapes. The judge asked the jailer, did they have federal contract, and he said no. And, he said because it was overcrowding. I think that needs to be verified by the county judge in, Boyd County, for the specific reasons why the federal inmates aren't there, besides overcrowding.
It was verified by the Department of Corrections.
Well, verified by the county judge on when he spoke with the United States Marshal Service. I'm not trying to dispute what you wrote. I'm trying to say that what he said about the only reason about the federal inmates being gone because of overcrowding. All right, this is something that RW said. Nothing has been contacted by jail officials in Elliott, Morgan, and Round counties about housing prisoners for those areas, providing additional revenue for the county. That was one of the things that he said. So that's county inmates. That has to be, unless it would be some more state inmates. All right, while the contract would be, this is, while the contract would be renegotiated, the jail authority, it's not going to happen quickly. This is talking about you're gonna lose the federal contract and you gotta renegotiate it. Bob said, when he took over jailer in January 11, he had only 16 federal inmates, and those numbers have grown. On December, jails turn in weekly jail reports. On December 29th, Ford County had 45, or Carter County had 45 federal inmates. After 3 days after Boggs was in office, he reported in 40 inmates. So that's an inaccurate statement. All right, then it goes on and it talks about the 20%, and it was a draft that was presented. It's not final, it changed 10 times. And he's talking about the $835,000. $835,000 was added up in both existing budgets that they currently have now. There's only $795,000. He said that, and then he talked about another $350,000 revenue for housing prisoners from other counties was all out falsehood. We do not have county contracts. And then, of course, he cautioned about me, your current, your current operating budget that you have now, that you have a line item for contracts with other counties, you have $350,000 in it. That's where that number came from. And the budget, Judge, have you approved all the budgets yet? Okay. I recommended the judge that number be lowered. It's now $125,000. The previous budget had $285,000 in it for state inmates. I will say that Jailer Boggs, I'll try to get to this number. All right. During,
Hey, excuse me just a minute.
yes, sir.
We're dragging this out a little too long.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm just trying to find, okay, I want to say that there was said,
All this stuff's in the paper, we done.
okay, 100 inmates, you're gonna exceed 100 inmates, 120, 130 inmates. There's been a call for an increase. Jailer Boggs offered the county 3 proposals. One was to raise taxes, one was to build on, one was to put more county modular pods. The rate, the county's over capacity right now. The jail is. Jailer Boggs has indicated that, RW, he knows that. The thing I want to read, and I'll say that talking too much.
Excuse me, I need to change tapes, please. Okay.
The interlocal agreement's written completely different than anybody else in the regional jail. Even if the fiscal court decides that they pass the second reading of the ordinance, it says until such time as the budget is adopted and approved by the fiscal courts and the agreement reached by the fiscal courts on the use of the respective jails, the jails of both counties shall continue to operate under existing budget. Now, I know there's, the jailer said there's been a freeze, so I wanna help the county right now on what they can do to help bring y'all some revenue in. This is a email, and I'll show it, I don't wanna pass it around like flyers. From Ken Deal, United States Marshal Service in Washington. It's addressed to Judge Wallace. I want to follow up concerning our conversation regarding the statute interlocal agreement in the Carter County has with U.S. business. Marshal Service, our records indicate Carter County was eligible for a per diem rate renegotiation on February 2nd, 2009. County currently receives a rate of $15 for the guard transportation services, and it would be renewable on February 20th, 2013. So, my calculations that, Joe Bucks needs to get on the internet, apply for the rate increase. That's the general fund budget, 64,584.52.
Excuse me. If they'd have went back to 2009 and followed up on that, we'd have been getting $15 more a day for the federal prisoners down there. Is that correct? Is that what they're saying?
No. You get $42 a day. I already did the calculation. I know the old formula, you have to go online to do it. It looked like $50 to $52.
You'd have got something though.
Yeah, you would increase about $154,000 in revenue based upon the average number of inmates that you house now, and I have those figures, and I don't wanna go into them.
Okay.
But RW wasn't here then either.
No, that's what it said. It said 2009.
Well, but what I'm saying is, a couple different times since his term, he said that it's under a freeze, that you can't do it.
Yeah, because I made the motion here twice.
And then here's another thing, I talked to, the Department of Transportation, and they're in conjunction with,
Excuse me, on that freeze that you was talking about, if I heard that email correctly, it also said that it could be applied again in 2013. That doesn't mean that tomorrow it could go be reapplied, right?
no, there's two different things.
There's two different things on that thing.
It's the negotiation of the fee for the raising the fee of housing the inmates. Then you have another negotiation that's where you would get, the jail currently receives $15 a day, and you have to have 2 staff members go when you transport a federal inmate. That can't be renegotiated until February 20th, 2013. The per diem rate of February 2nd, 2009 is when you were eligible for a per diem rate to increase to $42.
Okay, is it eligible to be applied for at this very moment?
Well, I
Is
just
that
read,
from 2009, is you available?
I just read the email.
But was it only available to apply for then?
No, it still stands good.
It says, we urge the county to take advantage of the IGA system to submit a rate increase proposal, encourage the county to work with the local U.S. Marshal Service representative if they have any questions. Thank you for interest and support of the Carter County facility, and look forward to maintaining our continued relationship. Another thing that I talked to, and this is gonna have to take the fiscal court members and the judge and the jailer to work on. You're in District 9, as far as the state road department, you have District 6 and District 10. There's a program where you can, negotiate and apply that you can get so much for a person, which would create a job for a person, and then you would get so much a meal for an inmate, plus you get paid mileage. I'll give, the number from Judge Turner to the county treasurer in LaRue County, clear around $30,000 a year. I think that's gonna take a joint effort with you all. So, you could do multiple counties. I think that RW knows that, but he's gonna have you all to help do it, and that could be another $90,000 increase in revenue. There is a statute that I even helped get passed that, your canteen fund, that's strictly up to the jailer. If he wants to contribute some of that money because of medical costs, he can do that. I had the last information I had, he had $63,000 in the bank, and if he wants to, there is a limit, what you could keep in your canteen fund. It states it out, but he could, say you put $40,000 in it. I'm not saying all this money will start now, but that's additional $300,000 in revenue. It's possible with the rate increase, working with the Department of Transportation and Corrections, one effort in trying to get some more revenue in, and then if he chooses to do jail canteen, so I'm done. Well,
all you're seem to be mentioning is things that could prove the jail as it is esteemed as that.
well, what I try to do is lay a base about everything first. Then, the regional jail concept, let me just say this, my professional opinion, there's gonna be a regional jail built in this area. There's no guarantee for inmates, RW knows that. I would like to see, I'm not sure looking for your job, I ran a jail, I don't wanna get back in the running jail. Looks like RW would be a perfect person to do that. You might get there was other options we hadn't gotten into about other counties coming in. If you do the second reading, it didn't form anything, all it did was create a vehicle to go forward. You can talk to the executive director, of the Kentucky County Judges Association, of monies that's available for the county. That, I've also looked at the state bonding authority to maybe help reduce the debt service. There's other things that could be done to help in the increase, the revenues with both counties. Absolutely, Boyd County, needs to have their county population brought down. I think the jailer here is doing the best he can. Will it make money? My professional opinion, yes. You look at the budget, let me just say this right now. That's a draft. It could change several different times. It wasn't made to be the absolute the way it was. I can't go back, as I said in the beginning, and change how things was done. I'd also told the court, if they do pass the second reading, or if this ever got formed, the jailer needs to be put on the board. Also,
That's not the way the ordinance was written. But I did wanna ask one thing. Your very first comment back to me when I asked that question was, there will be a regional jail. How do you have the authority to know there will be a regional jail?
I didn't say that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
said in the
Wait a
future.
minute.
That's what your
You said
opinion
yes.
is.
I said in my professional
No,
opinion.
you did not.
Yeah.
No, it will be. Anyway, to move on. My question to you here is, if Carter County is, and you've repeatedly said Carter County's doing the best that they can do, and you indicated that Boyd County maybe is not. So maybe it might be that you need to go back to Boyd County and work with them just a little bit more and leave us alone.
I do recognize, Judge, you talked about the road department a lot. It's like the jail is draining the road department. And back in the trouble that you was talking about, things was going wrong with the jail because the jail wasn't properly run. Me and the judge know that, and the previous master, we tried to straighten some of this up. The judge knows that. That was the previous administration. But you talk about the road department a lot. Why don't you say that, how much money, Judge, we lost on the big white Mack trucks, and give us some figures? I never could get them. And the grader we bought, I may have made the motion for that, but I came to you from Wayne Supply and told you that me and Murray McDavid tried it out, and it was too big. And it would take 3 or 4 months to get the right size grader, and you went ahead and bought the big one anyhow. I went to Willard's one day working, and here was our old cat grader. The mechanic from Wayne Supply said, "Look here, Miller." I called a local carpenter in, and you remember that. It had about 4,100 hours, and the transmission oil hadn't been changed. And you talk about expense, the road department, all these guys want blacktop and stuff, and I clap their hand for that. But you need to clean things up down at the road department as well as the jail also. You need more supervision that knows what they're doing, because you came in every morning and give the day-to-day say to the road foreman. And some of the stuff you fellas done was so dumb, I hate to say that. I built roads for 40-some years. You even got me to come work for the county. I wasn't a master of nothing. I'd run and got beat. You came to me to go work in the county. and fix these ditches that had solid rock. And I actually shouldn't have done it because I made $50,000 that year, and now I'm ashamed of it. Because you should have had people, these young men and women are working for the county and training them to work. And here's something else, the private contractor has got all the FEMA money in this county. And one more thing also, down at the county garage when I was mayor, there was about 9 people that had retired and come back. You thought you saved money on the insurance. You was only hurting the young people that need to be trained to run the new grader that was too big that you bought. And I told you not to. If you go to the county garage and look, and you magistrate look, all the magistrate's pictures is with that grader but mine. Because it was too big and I told Wallace. And there's a lot more stuff I can say
I'm gonna
too.
tell you something, that grader's being used every day. If it's too big, why is it being used?
It was hand over here on this end of the county for a long time, and it wasn't used, and the Big Mac trucks didn't have them. How many miles was on them? You sat down there all nice and white, and you was gonna use them, and you never did. You said we was gonna take them to Georgia or somewhere and make that big money when we resold them, and we actually lost from $20,000 to $50,000. You never would give me the figures, or Tommy Thompson wouldn't give them to us, and we didn't know what we lost on.
I can tell you a little something about your grader.
Hey, Judge,
It
can
may
I
have been,
speak a minute?
just hold on a minute. It may have been just a little bit too big. But the reason that people was scared to run it, it had no steering wheel. And once,
That's why I said.
wait a minute, let
Okay.
me finish. I didn't interrupt you when you was talking.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rowe.
That did not have no steering wheel. Once Larry Stone got on it and got familiar with it, you couldn't get him out of it. June Pennington the same way now, which I'd agree, it's too big in certain places.
It is.
But once they get on the thing and get familiar with running it, it's back when the old dozers was standard shift to a power shift, people didn't like them. But now as far as downgrading, it might be a little bit too big to get through some of these tunnels. Now, they do like the grader once they get familiar with it.
Well, can I ask you something else, son? How come we've got a new broom down there that goes on the front of the trucks, and we don't ditch none of the blacktop roads with the grader and sweep them off? When you get 2 or 3 miles a
I don't
day
even know
for
if
filler,
there's room down there.
we bought a brand new one, so there was one down there.
Excuse me, Judge, can we get back to the jail?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. My question is, I was hoping today to come and hear some more things from the gentleman who was hired in the newspaper articles. And we paid him almost $8,000, and all he did was research newspaper articles.
That's
I'd
not-
like to have heard a little more.
Ma'am, that's not true. You can go ahead and apply for a rate increase. You're gonna argue, and I'm not gonna answer any more of your questions. The only thing I'll say this to you is, you got an email that says you can apply for a rate increase. That's
Can I say something, Judge?
$54,000. So if you wanna do it, you can. If you don't wanna do it, that's okay.
I had a question for Mr. Stan. Is he a proponent of regional jails? I didn't get it in the concept, I didn't get your final analysis. Is this something you recommend, or is this something you're against?
That's something that I was asked to look at. I didn't seek coming here, nor did I ask.
Do you have an opinion on that?
I think that it will work, yes. I think there needs to be a lot of more research done on it. As I said, it was a vehicle to go forward. Mr. Boggs needs to be involved in it. There's a lot of people needs to be involved in it. You need to go to state government, you need to go to Washington. You need to try to get federal inmates, not just from West Virginia. You need to try to get federal inmates from other areas of the states and that different
I understand
states.
that. Do you have any statistics to back up any regional jail being successful?
Well, everybody keeps talking about Big Sandy. Big Sandy has only got about a 20 or 130 bed jail. You got 4 counties involved. That's not even enough beds to take care of their own county inmates. It cannot generate revenue. The other regional jail in the state is Three Forks. I think that the press needs to call Three Forks and ask them how they're doing. I think they're pretty successful. So, but you need to ask them. You don't need to take my word. You need to call those representatives and those officials in that county and ask them.
Eugene?
I wanna ask Mr. Staten, that's the right name, Staten.
Yes, sir.
Back, the past judge was in here for about 18 years, I believe it was. They done a regional study with building a jail out here. There was no way 5 counties could operate it. And I don't understand you saying maybe it might come to a regional jail. How 2 counties wanna operate it when 5 couldn't. And another thing, we elected Mr. Boggs to run that jail down there. Is that not right? He got the majority of the votes.
Yes, sir, and I'm not advocating that
Okay.
anything happens to
Another thing.
him is jail. No, never have.
They approved his budget the last 2 years. They just proved one, I guess, coming up. They didn't this time, they have. And, he hasn't went over, I understand. Maybe he has.
Spent about 533,000, is that correct? This year, general fund contribution into the jail. And I will add this, to Jailer Boggs' credit, that's down from what it was. So I'm just trying to be
Is
fair.
that
I haven't
counting
been
the jail
picking no
payment?
one. Pardon?
Is that accounting the jail payment too?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, see, you're gonna have that, when you're dead, all these older people will be dead when that deal's going.
Well, but I'm gonna tell you something.
That's
and-
20 years yet.
The only thing I'll say is this, and RW needs to speak, it's his jail, he runs it. I think he's gonna get up and tell you, and I think he already has, that you're gonna eventually have to do something at this county. Because you can't continue on, because the county inmate population's going up. You're not gonna be able to hold as many contract inmates, and eventually, at some point, this is my opinion, I'd say within the next 3 or 4 years, that you're gonna have to do something to either increase your revenue, or you're gonna have to put on some type of tax that will help pay for the cost of your jail. As I went back and said that you only have $800,000 in an insurance premium tax, $400,000 in a,
You know, you repeated that, I've heard that and I've seen them figures for 35 years here. I've been associated with this court system for a long time. And, we went 10 years and they made it with the same income. And you come up here in Carter County and they hire you, I won't be playing with you, buddy. Tried to tell us how to run our county, and they man down there in LaRue County told me you couldn't even run that, and they run you out of it. That's all I got to
I wanted to say one further thing. I'm the jailer in Lewis County, and I would be ecstatic to have a bond of $400,000 on a facility currently that you have, and at the amount that it's costing the general fund. This is clearly, there's been some misconceptions of the service industry versus the private sector. The jail is never intended to make money. The sheriff's department, well-ran sheriff's department, I'm assuming it's based on your taxes. Same as, but he gets subsidized through his property taxes. The jail is a standalone through the general fund, so it's gonna cost the taxpayers. You get nothing for free, but it's very well ran and you should be proud of what you got. So, if you decide to build bigger and lose control of it, no one takes care of your money better than you. If it goes to Boyd County, I can tell you, building bigger does not make sense if you're bankrupt.
But you can't tell them anything. They don't listen.
I've always felt that we need more deputy sheriffs, and my record proves it. To deter the crime in this county, we could save money at the jail. But I could never get them to hire more deputies. I made a motion, and it passed. The guy sitting right here knows it did. I didn't withdraw my motion, and they took the $90,000 out, and God knows where it's at. But I don't.
Well, there's a lot to respond to. I gotta say, right now, this very second, I have no problem with Joey Stanton. I agree with about 99% of what he said.
Thank you.
My problem will be with him after this meeting. And that will come down to if he's an honest jail consultant, or if he's full of it, trying to just get $2,000 a month. Because now, I agree with everything, now, hold most of your clap until the end, because I don't have a lot to say, because there's not been a lot of new stuff brought. What he says, I do agree with. Ken Deal, let's start with that one right there. That email is totally true, and I swear, Sidebuster, me and you were so close to being on the same page with this, I'm about to fall over. Because you're right, and you was right when you wanted more money. I agree with you. And he ain't lying about this. There was an email in 2009 that said we were eligible for more money. I've told you gentlemen that. Now, the one thing that has not changed, there's still a freeze on it. In 2009, Sidebuster, they should have done that. It would have been a lot more money for us, a lot more money. Ken Deal is no different than John Foster and Lauren Squirrel Carl. He's a district director just like they are. The way that works in Washington, these people take turns going and doing that. One day it might be our West Virginia guy, John Foster. One day it might be our Kentucky guy, Squirrel. They're just operational support. They have nothing to do with what's done here locally. They just, if local calls and asks them for something, they do. But if they ever get their stuff figured out in Congress and that freeze is done, we are staring right at more money side. We really are. Because we've got the email, we know we're eligible. I know how to write it. I've dealt with federal stuff before. I know how to do this. You get online, just like you said, and do your IGA intergovernmental agreement. And the day that happens, it's going to be a boom for Carter County. We're going to be making a lot more money, and it's our money. It's not Boyd County's money. With everything that he said, the transportation department, joint effort, that's the biggest thing he said, and that's what we've seen in the last year and a half. And I'm so tired of our fight, guys. I want to bury that hatchet and move forward. But that's going to be all of us working together. The transportation thing, I know I have to have your all support on that. And I think to be fair, we know I've not had a majority of the support. But we can write that contract. We have to buy, some stuff, but, ultimately it will be a net gain in money. And it will be more people out there working on the roads. We would get more stuff done for Carter County. The canteen thing, March 2011, I asked to put in $30,000 to get, 20 of it back, for a vehicle we needed. And that was turned down, but I understand we all knew then. There's a lot of things we didn't know. I think one thing we do know now is that, we have a jail, we're moving in the right direction. Mr. Stanton even said that. You all done a good job getting the bond payment down, and we're in a position where, we have a fighting chance of getting where we need to go. The idea of pods. Now, you remember I said try before you buy. Let's get some pods. And that was last year I mentioned that, and I don't even think it came to a vote. Nobody was a bit interested. And I understand that, it was something you didn't understand. Now, if we'd done that, we could have got our Elliott counties, back. We could have got our Morgan counties back, and Don Halls wanted us to hold the females for a round. Now, if we would have done that then, we would have been grandfathered in. See, now the Department of Corrections won't allow you to do that. So anyone that tells you that you can get pods to make money, those days are over. That boat has sailed. We're going to have to find other ways to make money now. The only way you can get pods nowadays is if you're full, if 144 of our beds was full with the county, and we did not hold a single revenue bed. That's the only way you can do it now. And we're never going to be in that situation, hope, praise God, because we got a federal contract. And, Joey Stanton was a great jailer. He spearheaded a lot of the federal stuff, and I give him, massive credit for that. He's not a dumb man by any stretch of imagination, and he understands, the federal side of it, and all jailers will tell you we want more feds. But the thing is, we live in a region, and there's only so many feds to get, and we've got the top number there. We might get 5 or 10 more here and there. We fluctuate. Right now, I fluctuate anywhere between 54 and 75. Those days I have 75, I'm just like, oh, awesome. And 54 is still a pretty good number for us too. Back to the other thing, the December 29th, the day I said we have 45, we actually have 40. Well, they ask me, I get asked 100 times a day, how many county you got? How many states you got? How many federal you got? And within 4 or 5, I'll have the number right down to you. Because, I look at this constantly. Now, we have movements in and out. It's a jail. Nobody comes there to live forever. They try not to, especially the county jail. So, I probably did say we had 45 and we actually had 40. But, that happens. I promise you, Sod, as soon as we can do that rate increase, I'll have that thing done. And we'll be making more money. And again, it's our money. And I think we know there is options out there to make it, but we need to get to it. We should not, strap Boyd County to our back when we have our own opportunity to make money. The $530-some-thousand, whatever he said that, that it ended up being, 400 and some thousand of that was the bond payment. And they're all right. We're gonna be stuck with that, for a long time. But you gotta look at the remainder of that number, it's $100-some-thousand, it's all come out of general fund. Lewis County tell you, if that's all they's taking out of general fund, they would, cartwheel down the street. And that number's gonna get lower, especially if you all work with me and just try to listen to what I say. Ronnie, I've known you forever. You're a good guy. My oldest has played with your granddaughter. Basketball, we've been to basketball tournaments. I never thought I'd have as much problem with you. And it don't have to be that way going past today. Sonny, I've never heard nothing but good about you. Everybody I know, we share a lot of friends. We need to get on the same page. Sawbuster, I can tell you what, people's all the time talking about the hard time you're giving me. I tell them, I like Saw. I said, he's my favorite, out of the ones that you fight me. I like. I said, well, by God, he hates me and he sticks with me. So,
You don't catch no two faces, do you?
that's what I'm saying. I gotta give you credit for that. But we can work together. I'm not a demon. I know January of 2011, you guys were told all kinds of horrible stuff about me and all that, but everybody's got, things, I guess, that was in their past. I mean, I'm sure y'all not proud of every second of your life. But, today we're 6 men that were elected to do the right thing for Carter County. And we can do it for Carter County. If you want to do the right thing, if Joey Stanton wants to do the right thing, he's going to tell you, based upon what I see, a regional jail's not going to help you. Because now what he's talking about, the good thing of a regional jail would be years down the road. Because we couldn't bond to build the jail that we would have to do to house both these counties. And there's much cheaper options for Carter County if we want to get into the massive revenue business. Much cheaper options. But if he's a consultant worth his salt, he would look at you and say, this isn't what you all need. Maybe Boyd County does. I don't know. I'm not over there looking at their stuff. Maybe they need to search out other options. But Carter County needs to go in the direction that we've been going in. Slow but sure progress. And if I could get you on my side, the progress would go a lot faster. We can go immediately and start on this transportation thing. We can work together on the canteen side of it. And I would love to. Lord Almighty, there's things I'd love to do with that I've been hindered with because we don't get along. And it would help both sides of us. It'd help you all, it'd help the jail. So, I don't know. I mean, our county's been scarred by this so bad. I mean, you've got people here, and I venture to say a good 99% of them, if not 100, is totally against this. And you go out there, I mean, I've heard comments from, media and everything else. You can't find anybody that's for this. You men were voted to do the will of the people, to do the right thing for them. And the most right thing beyond this whole regional concept right now would be to, let's get the respect of the people back, let's get the trust of the people back. You all brought this up as, we're gonna talk about jail issues today. Get the respect of these people back. Make a motion to kill this thing and kill it. Now, if you wanna keep your consultant on, keep him on. I don't care, I don't begrudge no man trying to make $1 or $2, but that's up to you too. I mean, you've got a good one. I mean, I was, I was one of the 9 finalists for the Jailer of the Year. You don't get that because you're doing a bad job. I think out of the box. I understand ICE contracts. I understand federal contracts. I know how to write this IGA thing. Working together, we can accomplish so much. And the thing we need to do going forward, though, is get these people's trust back. Put a motion to kill this thing and see your county, feel confident you guys again. I didn't promise you that. That's money that we're trying to get. We use a company called Pay My Jailer. And that was another thing that I asked for help.
Pay your jail, that was, you could go and collect from the previous administration, and you sat right back there on that back row and told me.
You doggone right. And I know you've been hot on this, but you gotta look, there was a meeting right after that.
I think you'll keep your word.
Well, and we've been trying, but I've also.
About a month ago, you was taking in $1,500 a month from that. Is that true?
From Pay My Jailer?
No. From the previous, I didn't hear anything about the Pay My Jailer. It was just.
Yeah, that's a company we used to try to get. That's the thing, I've had to resort to that because, when we had that discussion, that was early in the year, and I was a little bit more, wide-eyed thinking we was all gonna work together a little better. Because now to get the money from the
Well, I've
previous.
got something to do with, you're not getting your money in, huh? Is that what you're saying?
Well, people not paying, it's a big part of it, but we're going after it. The thing is, we're going after it, but it has no teeth. I'm sure,
Where's
you know,
it, where's it going to?
they're keeping it in their pocket. These are people that used to be in the jail. The previous administration, it wasn't like they hid no money or nothing. It was, there was $1.5 million on the books from, say, if Brandon Burton was in jail and he owed the jail, $60, that, all those different things, added up to about $1.5 million. Now, that's been over several years, and I don't know how much that we will ever recoup. I said we was gonna try, and we are trying. We have a company called Pay My Jailer that sends out the invoices and stuff. Going forward, we could put a lot more teeth on the money that people owes us and make it harder for them not to pay us. But, I'm learning things too. I probably did overestimate how much of that we could get back from people that, owe the jail. Especially when I got into looking in the ordinances and all that. I mean, that's the thing, I really thought when they voted in to put the $30 a day on that, the thing they didn't do, and this was something I didn't know back then, but I've learned, I mean, I'll admit to you, Sonny, I ain't perfect. But they didn't put teeth to that. They said we're gonna charge $30 a day, but they put no teeth for us to be able to really recoup it. You can't attach it, right now to somebody's property or put, anything out there that forces them to have to do it. And that's something that should have been done when that $30 a day was done. But then after looking into it, I realized, I have no big stick to hold over these people's heads. Now, we've done some changes since then, and Beth can tell you, as far as, housing fees and stuff, that numbers went up. We're getting more from current people coming to jail, because we've made a few changes, and we can make even more, to make it even better. But, like I said, we've done a lot of fighting over the last year and a half, and things that we could have worked better on. We're not gonna get that whole $1.5 million on it.
I can attest to that because I dealt with the exact same thing through Pay My Jailer. I went to the judges for both district and the circuit judge, and they said, you don't wanna hear this, but that's a civil violation. You're not gonna get anywhere. It looks good on the books. You're charging them. What you get is what you get, but it's like a bad credit card. If they don't wanna pay it, and these are not usually the most upstanding people in our community, they're not gonna pay it.
I didn't lie to you, Sonny. I was wrong. I mean, I've not been right about
Now,
that.
Pay My Jailer will tell you, we recoup about 30%. Well, it sounds good when you say 30% of $1.2 million, I'll take that. Their statistics are not there. They're probably getting 0.1% or 2%. So you'll get a $20 float in here, a $200 check float in here every once in a while from sending out these little fear letters. But for the most part, they know, throw it in the trash can. It's like my other 5 credit cards I didn't pay off, and I'm not gonna pay this. And I'll probably be back in jail next month, so it really don't matter. And that's how that's their logic.
I'll be recognized, please.
Yes, go ahead.
I got 2 comments and a couple of questions. One of the comments, like a maintenance man to one of these mills we have around here. A county jail is like a necessary evil. We've got to have it. Now, my 2 questions is, what is the voting population of Boyd County? Does anybody know?
Voting population?
Yes.
How many people voted?
How many people are eligible to vote?
Well, I mean, the ones
Probably
that actually
30,
show up.
40,000?
No, I mean, well, yeah, that's how many's eligible. They usually have between 18 and 24,000 actually show up.
How many vote in Carter County?
We got a total registered voters 18,700.
There you go. Big boy's gonna win when it comes down to counties competing against each other. They're gonna keep what they can get. The next comment was, I think I've already forgot it. That's the trouble with getting old. But anyway, I'll think of it later, maybe ask it later. But I respect all of you, what you're trying to do, I respect that. But one thing we've got to remember, when you leave this courtroom here today, you leave as friends. Have enough gumption about you to go up and shake each other's hands.
We're still working on that.
Still working on that. That's the most important thing. Don't leave us alone.
Said I ain't gonna get nothing on my hand.
Nobody wants to make that motion?
Yeah, I'd like to appreciate you guys for conducting everything while I was off, and I did read the minutes and stuff.
once you get back on your feet, son, so I can get some more fish out from you.
The Carter County Fiscal Court met in special session on June 29, 2012 at 10 a.m. Members present were Brad Bramble, Clarence Hinkle, Lonnie Greenhill, Clifford Rowe, and Brandon Burton, magistrates. The Carter County Attorney, John Preston, I need to put assistant. John Thompson was present. Fiscal Court Clerk Mike Johnson and Carter County Judge Executive Charles Wallace, presiding officer. Meeting was called to order by Judge Wallace. Motion made by Ronnie Greenhill to dispense with the reading of the previous meeting minutes, second by Clifford Rowe, unanimous. Motion made by Ronnie Greenhill to approve the AE transfers as presented, second by Clarence Hinkle, unanimous. Joey Stanton addressed the court concerning issues at the jail.
Motion approved.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as read.
Second.
Second, everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion
Motion to
adjourned.
adjourn.
Second. Second, same thing, everybody in favor, aye.
This is about to go slow.
Well, I want to hear some of you come in.